as you go on and you're making certain decisions, you're doing certain things, and you're telling your loved ones about it or whatever happened, or you're putting these certain boundaries in place, and they just don't get why does need to be a boundary now? And all that, they don't understand it. It don't matter. Understanding it is nice, but it's not required, okay? To some, boundaries are just placing limits. To me, it's where the limitless things begin. Hello, 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 and thank you for tuning into the Boundaries and More podcast with Jess Abraham. I am your host, Jess Abraham, your favorite boundaries coach, and today's episode is brought to you by Joyful Styles. Joyful Styles is a lifestyle brand that provides premium quality apparel that promotes joy and positivity. Joyful Styles believes how we approach a situation matters. And choosing to be joyful makes all the difference. You have the power, and it's time to embrace it. So get your Joyful Styles apparel at joyfulstyles.com. That's JoyfulStylez.com. Let's go. Look, for those of you who have not yet taken that boundaries assessment, that link for you is in the show notes. I want you to take some time out right now. Just hit pause and come back to take that boundaries assessment. Get a gauge on where you are and see how you progress as time goes on. Again, that link for you is in the show notes, or you're welcome to text me. Text me the word boundaries to 210-880-0771, and I got you, okay? I'll get that sent right over to you. You take that assessment, come on back. Listen, it takes 2 minutes or less of your time. Okay, you got that. All right. Yes, y'all, I'm ready to get into this episode today, y'all. I am ready to get into it today. Y'all, this one has been hitting me a little bit differently, especially with this first part that I'm going to get into. But let's, y'all, understanding is not required. Understanding is not required. I know we seek in all the things we do, seek understanding and all the things. There's certain things in our life that understanding is not required. And I want to start here because when I was thinking about this episode, multiple things came up, right? Different contexts and in which this is super relevant, right? The first thing that came up for me was I don't need to understand everything that God is doing in order for me to move on what God told me to move on. Like that's y'all, that one might have been just for me, but I think there's some of you out there that's for you too, right? That was hitting me like, I don't need to understand everything that God is doing to move on what God told me to do, right? There are just some things, y'all, it's just been in my spirit, like certain things that I've been working on and doing and all the things. And like some of them, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work out or how it will happen or all the things. I don't have all the details. I don't. Right? I have a vision in mind. I have like, this has become like things that become super clear, like the end goal, but I don't know about the ins and outs and how we're going to get there and how it's going to happen or when it's going to happen. I don't know. Right? I do not know, but I've decided to just trust that I'm just trusting that God will make it happen because I believe that's what God said will happen. Right? So I'm trusting that, it will happen as long as I continue to trust God and I don't grow weary in doing well. Like long as I don't grow weary in doing good, right? All the things, good, well, all the different versions you read. As long as I don't grow weary and I just continue to do what I believe God has told me to do, like even with the turbulence, even when things come up, even when I'm like, oh God, I don't know, this don't look too promising over here. This don't look, I don't know what's up. Like even when all that stuff comes up, I don't need to understand it to move on it. Right? Again, now I know that was for me. I know that part was for me, and that's probably why it was the first thing that was on my spirit when I thought about bringing this episode to you all, right? And there's some of you, or maybe one of you, right, that out there that's for who it's for you too, okay? Right now, I had to get that out because that was all up in there, okay? Also, right, when I'm talking about understanding is not required, I'm talking about how you right? Tend to feel unsettled when people don't understand your boundaries or your decisions or your needs, right? So you just keep explaining yourself and hope that they'll eventually get it, right? We gonna get into it, y'all. We gonna get into that. I'm talking about that too, okay? Understanding is not required. Understanding is not a prerequisite for you, like, for any of this to like really be in full effect. Okay, it doesn't need to be. It's not a precursor. It's not a pre anything, right? It's not required for this to happen. Okay, y'all, look, because I want you just think about it. Let me just slow down for a second, and I want you to just take some time out right now to just think about it. Right? Have you ever, like ever, have you ever explained something, right, 3 different times? I'll say it like this. Okay. Have you ever explained something in 3 different ways? Not 3 different times, but in 3 different ways, hoping that someone would eventually understand what you were saying, right? But they still didn't get it. They still didn't get it. They still didn't understand why you was making certain decisions. They still didn't understand like why certain things was important to you. They still didn't understand like but you explained it in 3 different ways and they just didn't get it. Right? Now, whatever it is, just because they didn't get it, it didn't make whatever it is less true, or it didn't make it less of your need, anything you needed. Like, it didn't make it less of anything, right? So understanding is not required. Right? You don't need to understand just for like, oh, this the way it's going to work. Only if we understand it like this, only if they understand it, then that's the only way that this could possibly work. Again, we talking about in this context, y'all. There's a time and place for everything and all the things, and certain things we do, we must seek understanding and get understanding. Now, this ain't it. This right here, this ain't it though, right? Right? Because like again, we talking about these you believing that understanding is required and stuff, like, because your thoughts, right? You tend to think like, you know what? If they understand me, then they'll respect it. Right? So they must understand it first so they can respect it. Like, no, it's not required. It's not required. Understanding is not required for respect. It's not at all. Y'all, I'm telling you, look, it's like understanding is really nice to have. It is. It is nice to have. It's like nice to be on like extreme one accord with your people, the people that you're hoping and seeking this understanding from, and hoping that they seek this understanding of you and your actions and all the things. It'll be nice. However, it is not required. I want you to keep hearing that, because as you go on and you're making certain decisions, you're doing certain things, and you're telling your loved ones about it or whatever happened, or you're putting these certain boundaries in place, and they just don't get why does need to be a boundary now? And all that, they don't understand it. It don't matter, right? Understanding it is nice, but it's not required. Okay, I'm hear that, hear it clearly. Okay, y'all, I want to get in to more of what this looks like, right? What this look like is that you, like, because you want this understanding and all the things, right? You keep re-explaining your boundaries multiple times over and over. Like, this is what it is. And they're like, but why? Like, why did you need it? But this is what it is. And you just keep trying to re-explain, even when they just keep questioning and all the things. Like, what you need is what you need. What you desire is what you desire. We're different, right? We're different human beings, and we need and require different things, right? What you need and your certain decisions don't require a full-blown paragraph and explanation just for somebody to understand it, for you to move forward with it, or for you to feel solid in what you're doing, right? It is not required, y'all. Like, we get this through our heads, like, things can change dramatically. Like, y'all, thank you, Holy Spirit. Like, there was times in my life, y'all, I say certain things like, hey, mom, dad, this is what it is, whatever. They didn't have to understand. There's a lot of things and decisions in my life that my parents didn't necessarily understand why I made certain decisions, etc. And it wasn't even necessarily bad decisions, right? Might not be understanding why I went to this college instead of that college, and things like that, like whatever. Like, there's certain things they didn't understand my decision, but they didn't need to understand. They just needed to respect it. Right? We're gonna get into that a little bit later, like the difference, right? They just needed to like, look, It's okay. It's okay. This is my decision. This is the way I'm moving. Like, this is what we doing. They didn't need to understand certain things. They didn't need to understand, like, oh, why I wanted to major in this or do that or what. Like, they didn't need to understand it for me to want it, for it to be something that I desire, something that I wanted to pursue, something like they didn't need to understand. Right? Your people don't need to understand for you to move forward or for you to do the things that you desire to do. Right? Okay, let me continue like what this looks like, right? Because we're doing this, right? Sometimes you're and all this seeking of this understanding, right? You're trying to word things better so people won't push back, right? If you say something and they don't understand and they pushing back and like, well, why you doing all this stuff? You just try, okay, well, let me say it like this, and maybe they're no, like, look, cut it out. Cut it out, right? Like, yeah, look, again, what this looks like, right? You're believing if you just need to justify your no. Anytime you say no here, insert no, it's like, oh, well, I need to tell you exactly why I'm doing this so you can understand why I'm telling you no. No, in these certain cases, that ain't it, right? Maybe if you want to for certain children and things of that sort, and you want to explain certain things like, hey, this is don't do this because this and what, like, that's different, right? Again, there's a time and place for everything. In this though, that ain't it. And this understanding is not required, right? What I'm talking about here, I told you exactly what I'm referring to when I'm talking about this understanding is not required. That ain't it at all, okay? Yo, also like what this looks like. Because you got to see it. I know you're doing it every single day. It's something because you can't help it, right? It's a part of you that just feel like you can't help it. But there is a cure. There is a cure, right? You starting by listening to this, right? You can also come out, reach out to me, right? I'm doing in this particular season, it's been on my heart and on my spirit to do some clarity sessions for people, right? So you invest in yourself and get one of those clarity sessions. Like, reach out, tell me like, yeah, I want a clarity session. Reach out, comment clarity and all this stuff, right? Let me know. And now I get you the link and all the stuff to be set up for one of those sessions because but there's a cure, right? There's a cure because thank you, Holy Spirit. Or you can come also join us in the Boundaries and More community, right? You can do all of the above. Ain't nobody stopping you, right? Come join us in the Boundaries and More community. We're there here to support you and help you through this, right? Just so you clear, like, you ain't got to do this alone, right? There is a cure. But if you keep going at it by yourself and not necessarily having all the tools and the support in place, you can fall back into those things that you say you don't want no more. Right? I'm just, yeah, okay. All right. Let me just keep it moving here because some of this, right, what it looks like is that when you consistently, every single time, consistently, well, if not every single time, nearly every single time, right? You're interpreting when somebody misunderstand, right? When there's misunderstanding there as a communication failure on your part, right? You ain't do something right. You ain't say something right. You just blaming it on me. No, it ain't your fault. Maybe maybe sometimes it is, but look, you just want to just blame it on you, right? You taking that for, and I look, there's a time and place to take that responsibility because there may be certain instances when you didn't state things clearly. That's what we're talking about. Well, we consistently talk about here is saying things with clarity, right? Having the clarity, saying things and stating things very clearly. So there's no like whatever. If they don't understand it, that's on them, right? But if you do it clearly, like if you just all over the place, necessary, there might be some room for interpret. Like maybe you did, right? But here I'm talking about specifically when you're stating things clearly and they're not understanding. Like, look, it's okay. Like we don't, yeah, okay. This this is yeah. So just make sure you hear it in the right context because, like, yeah, if you don't, like, you might try to insert and put this in different places where it just didn't work, and then now here we are again. Your boundaries aren't healthy, right? They're not effective. Like, it's the problem, right? And we don't want that, right? But we don't. So yeah, but again, make sure you're doing it with clarity because I want to say this because this is really what it is. Some of you, right, you're not necessarily struggling with the clarity part of it, right? You're not struggling with the clarity of it. You're struggling with the reaction to people, the reactions that the people that you're so clear about certain things, but you're struggling with the reaction to what you're clear about. right? We gonna stop that. Like, look, we're not talking about if you just all over the place with it and all this stuff. No, when you real clear on what it is, you're struggling with those reactions because people see that you're very clear and they're not okay with you being clear in this way. Right? This is what I'm referring to. This is what I'm talking about, right? We're not doing that no more. Right? We moving on. We doing different things, right? We doing different things to get different results, right? This is what we're doing, okay? Now I want you to know, y'all know I'm like this, like they don't just come from like anywhere and all this stuff. Just one day you woke up and be like, I just need some understanding and all the things, and not necessarily, right? So I want to kind of break down certain couple of different things, right? Different ways in which why overgivers chase understanding. I'll put it that way, right? Why do overgivers chase understanding, right? Because you fear being perceived as unfair or selfish. Now, if you've been here for just a little second, you already know how I feel about the word selfish, right? Very different relationship with the word selfish. If you don't know how I feel about the word selfish, it's okay. Go listen to the episode, "The Truth About Selfish," right? That'll break it all down for you. Maybe you start feeling differently about it too, right? You're fearing this perception from other people, like if they don't understand, then this is how they're gonna see me. Okay, right? They're people, they're humans, they have every right to look at things the way they desire to look at things, right? You just do your part, again, being clear, and you're doing your part, being clear. Your part looks like being clear, and then the other stuff falling on them, right? That's your part. That's what you focus on here, okay? I want to make sure like you hear this, right? Also, right, why you're chasing this understanding is because you were taught, like, again, a lot of these things and a lot of bad habits that we have and things that we do, and we hold it as true and all the things because we were taught certain things. But the same way you was taught something, right? You learned it, you can unlearn it. Right, you can learn a new thing. Right, you was doing this pattern, you can create a new pattern now. Like, it's okay. Like, you literally, God gave us this ability to do that. You have the power, and it's time to embrace it. Right, that's not just a saying. Right, you hear this joyful styles and this, no, that's real. That's real. It didn't just come out of nowhere. It just didn't sound cute to say. It's real. All right, so. But you were taught that good communication means that everybody agreed with you, right? If they don't agree with you, then you ain't communicated with. Not necessarily true. Not necessarily true, because there's some people that speaking this when I was writing out my notes for this, and I'm thinking about this, like I'm thinking about, like, there are some people who are speaking clear as day, right? They're speaking clear as day, saying certain things like that I just may not understand because they're speaking in a different language. That part, y'all, that take it to the next level. That take it to the next level. We're gonna touch on that just a tiny bit more in just a second here. But I'm just like, y'all, that part, we got to make sure we're speaking the right language to each other, right? The language, the receptive language is what I call it, right? We got to make sure we speaking that receptive language. I'm getting into some of the shift because I just be thinking about it because literally I operate in this way. So I just be like, it be in my brain, like, yeah, this is what it is. Like, this is how we combat this stuff. But look, anyway, like, so you can speak clearly, but make sure you're speaking in that receptive language. I guess I just insert that here. It's okay. Right? So, like, again, they don't gotta agree. It don't have to be the same, whatever. It can look different, right? Also, we want, like, okay. I'll make sure I slow this down and say it this way because I'm hearing and I see it. Like, you literally be feeling like you're doing something wrong, right? You're doing something wrong if they understand you, right? And you don't want that feeling, right? Because you don't want to feel like you did something wrong, but it's not necessarily true, right? It's not necessarily true. I'm telling you, like, if somebody could be telling me, like, okay, now this is an example, but I don't know if okay. So I know the words "I love you" in multiple languages. I know that, right? But if someone was telling me that they love me in a language that I didn't know, I might be like, I might look at them a little sideways, like, but they could be saying something so beautiful. They're not wrong, necessarily, depending on who it is and all that stuff, like, whatever. But they're not necessarily wrong for saying that they love me, I just don't understand the language that they're saying it in. Like, that's just not one of the language that I'm used to hearing it in, or I know what it means. I know how to interpret it. It just it's different. Doesn't make it wrong, right? So I want you to stop thinking that when you're saying certain things and people don't understand, that you're not necessarily wrong. Right, make sure you get that right, because I hear like you feel like, and you just want to give up, like, oh, I don't want to feel like I'm wrong, I'm saying something wrong, so I'm just not gonna say anything. And y'all know how this cycle happens, how it starts, right? It becomes a loop, a vicious cycle, a vicious loop that just like tear you apart, right? And we're not doing that again. We're doing something different to get different results, right? The time is now. Don't like, yeah, let's switch some things up, switch it up ASAP. Okay, now I want to say this, because when people when you're like you're seeking this understanding, and I know you're not thinking about it this way, right? Because I've had people that like communicate certain things to me and I necessarily understand and get it, or like they wanted me to respond a certain way or get a certain thing that they was giving, like, they were saying something to me and they want me to hear it the way that they're saying it and get it and all the things, and but it didn't necessarily work out that way. But so I want to let y'all know, right? Communication is about clarity, right? As long as you say it clearly, like if you say something to me clearly, it's on me to receive that, understand that, get that, whatever, right? So communication is about clarity, not control. You cannot control how I receive it. You cannot control like how they receive it. Right? Let me put it on you, because you gotta see you in this, right? We can't control other people's actions and responses and all the things. We just do our part. Speak clearly, right? Communicate clearly, calmly. We talked about all this, right? And if not, like you could be new here, you didn't hear any of this stuff. So hey, welcome. But I want you to know, like, you can just say it clearly and calmly, and like we're not doing a yelling and screaming, none of that other stuff. Just communicate clearly and focus on the communication part of it, not controlling people, right? We're not trying to control their reactions and all the things like that, right? As long as you can communicate clearly, right? You can do it without, and people can still not understand you, right? So let me slow down and say that again, because all right. You can still communicate clearly, and people still not understand you. I told y'all that people communicate. They can say a beautiful thing in such a different language that I just don't know, right? But they're doing it clearly in their language, right? And I just don't understand it. It's okay, right? I just do my part. But we all, right? Just make sure when we're communicating clearly, we're not necessarily speaking a language that is so far far fetched from the receiver's language, right? You might be on a different wave than them and all the things like that, but making sure you clearly, like really effective communication is making sure you're communicating in the way that the person can receive it, right? So certain things might need to be broken down just differently for different people. The way you explain something to me may be very different, likely very different than you explain something to a child, right? But as long as you're focusing on whoever's receiving this message, right, their language too, making sure it makes sense for them, because like you got to get them a chance, right? Let me say that, get them a chance to even grasp some of the stuff, to potentially understand. Again, you come to me speaking a foreign language, I'm like, I might need to get on my phone real quick and get this translator thing going on. But we gotta do something different, right? Because it might not be as effective as you thought it would be, right? So make sure that you're, again, doing your part and doing it in also considering the receiver's language, right? Okay. Now, because I want you to know, like, you keep trying to do this and seeking his understanding and all these different things, right? You keep doing this and you're doing your part, right? We're making it clear, because I just want y'all to hear this clearly. Like, you're doing your part in doing all this. When you keep doing this in a way, like you're clear already, you're all this, and this thing, they don't understand, and it's all good. But you will fall into this endless explaining and emotional exhaustion. The more you explain, the more you get tired of explaining and all this different stuff. It's a circle, it's a cycle, right? It's a loop that we want to get you up out of, right? right? You keep doing this, right? Your boundaries become debates. Now you're not just stating your boundaries, you're debating them. Like, we're not doing that, right? This ain't no debate. Like, this ain't the great debate. Like, no, this is what it looks like. This is what it is. I'm stating it clearly. And this is how we're moving. The end. It's not a debate, right? Like, again, y'all, please hear this clearly in the context. It's a time and place for different things, but we're not debating these different things. Also, when you're doing this, you keep doing this, and you trying to get people to explain and rewording things 50 million times to get them to understand and all this different stuff, right? People start to think that your decisions are negotiable. You say certain things and you're going back on it because they're not agreeing and all this other stuff. Like, now they think that, oh, I gotta say, I really have a say, so we can negotiate some room. There's some room for negotiation here. No, there's not, right? Shut it down and let people know that there is not room for negotiation. But if you keep doing this, they will continue to believe, as they should, because you're showing them that it is. They'll continue to believe so, right? Also, I want with that, because I just want you to get this part clearly, because the more you try to secure their understanding and get this understanding and all this, or get them to understand in a certain way, right? It's the more you invite this negotiation come. Like, okay, the more I try, like, okay, I'm on round 2 of it, right? Now you inviting more negotiation. Now round 3, more negotiation. Like, come on. We're going to state it clearly the first time and move from there. All right. I want to get that. Lord, pray that didn't confuse anybody. Okay. Let me keep it moving, because I want to kind of get into what really matters, right? You're seeking and searching is understanding and all those different things, but that ain't really the, like, you think, like, I say, I'm gonna just say it like that. That's what's on my heart. That's my spirit right now. You think that's what you're looking for because of certain things you want to feel on the other side of that. But I want to tell you what really matters. And maybe that's what because you want to feel whatever, right? You might need to go listen to Facts Over Feelings episode as well. But let me tell you, like, so what actually matters is respect, right? When you're putting these things out there, you're making these decisions, you're sharing them with your loved ones or people around you and all these different things, right? What really matters is the respect, not necessarily understanding, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about respect versus understanding. So just so we have a little more clarity here. Again, y'all, hear all these things clearly. There is a time and place for all of these different things, right? But in this context, right? In this context right here, though, right? With understanding, you're looking for some agreement, right? You're looking for agreement, but respect is acknowledgement, right? You don't necessarily need them to agree with you, but acknowledgement is, we need some acknowledgement, right? Let me make sure you hear, you got it. All right. You don't have to agree with me. Like, y'all, okay. Let me just, slow it down for a second, because I'm about to get into, again, some more of the shift stuff and things that I do in my personal life. I don't want to get into that too early, but I want to, again, still break this down, this context, what it looks like. But with understanding, you're also looking to have a shared perspective. Like, you want y'all to be on the same, there's time and place to be on one accord with people, right? And it's not necessarily when you're moving in a way that you know that God has definitely told you to move and all these different things. Like, trying to get other people to buy in to that ain't necessarily the move, right? That's what, understanding looks like. Oh, you got to be a shared perspective. Nope. But respect looks like honoring your decision, right? Plenty times. I kind of alluded to this earlier in the episode. Like, my parents, like, they ain't necessarily get it, understand certain things and whatever, but they definitely just honor, like, because what can they do? That part, what could they do at that point? Like, you just gotta respect my decision. Like, this is what it is, and we just keep it moving. We still love and care about each other. We still, like, hug and all this stuff. Like, it's all good. We just honor, right, the decision, right? Honor my decision. Like, I'm honoring my decision and they're honoring my decision. They don't need to understand it, okay? Man, I'm just telling you, y'all. I'm just thinking about so many situations and instances when this is, like, happened, and child, okay, because y'all live, okay, this is on my heart and spirit right now, like y'all, because you know what, with certain people that you're dealing with, and I get it's part of why you also try to get this understanding and whatever, because certain people that you're dealing with, they want to keep going. Again, this is debating, right? They want to keep going and going and have you operate in a way until they fully understand it. Even when you got nothing else to say, nothing else to like put out there like this, they want to go back and forth until you make them understand, when we can't make people do anything. Right? Like, okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. But that just dropped. I'm like, child, no. Like, I'm not trying to justify all these things to you. Okay, anyway, y'all. Because I want to let you know, like, people don't have to understand your boundaries to respect it, like, at all. At all. They do not have to understand it to respect it. If they say they do, they're lying. And if you think they do, it's a misconception, big time. Like, it is not necessarily true, right? It is not the case. Like, yeah, this is how you teach people, right? I'm gonna teach people. All right. Now I want to get into the shift, right? A big part of what we do here, because can't just leave you just thinking about this and in your thoughts. Like, I'm gonna tell you some practical things that you could do, right, to shift. Start resisting the urge to over explain. We don't need to do that no more. Like, y'all see it so many times, like nobody asked anything. Like, yeah, I'm not even gonna go there, because literally certain events popped up in my brain when I'm in certain situations and people feeling like the need to over explain, like, this is what you desire, this is what you want, just keep it moving, do that. And yeah, child, okay. So resist the urge to over explain. Also, allow space for disagreements, right? Instead of automatically just switching things up because, like, they don't agree with you. Like, okay, you don't agree with this, okay, I'm gonna just change up everything, switch up everything. No, right? Like, no, just leave space for disagreement. Allow, like, go into certain things knowing that people could disagree with you, and that's okay, right? Like, people can disagree, that's okay. Just go into it knowing that, right? We're not focusing on this other stuff no more, no, because it's gonna hold you up. It's gonna keep you in a loop that you don't desire to be in. What you say anyway, right? You're listening because you want to better yourself. We got to stop doing that stuff, right? This is how you help combat all of that. Also, make sure that you know, and you embrace that some people may never, ever, ever understand. And that's okay. There's some things that has happened in my life, like from people like that, my loved ones and people that I care about and I've cared about in the past, and all the different things. Like, there's some things that just happened that they didn't, certain things I will never understand it. Like, it just, my brain don't work the same as theirs, right? It makes perfect sense in their brain and their mind and all the things, but for me, I don't understand that. I like, what? Like, I just don't understand how people can make, certain decisions and certain things that they do, but they ain't got nothing to do with me, right? Understand it? Like, they ain't got nothing to do with them either. I don't need to, right? It didn't stop them from doing certain things that whatever happened, because, like, it didn't stop it. Understanding, I'm telling you, is not required. Not required at all. People gonna do what people want to do because they want to do it. Period. Like, that's just how it works. Just learn to accept that. Look, people ain't gonna, yeah, okay. Now, some of this language, I want to help you, because today you might get into a situation or hear something, or you're doing certain things and you're trying to get people to understand and you're over explaining and all these things that's happening. But I want you to do, like, something comes up, you say something, I want you to say, you can say something like, this or that, whatever the situation is, that's what works for me. Like, people are like, oh, you should do this instead. No, this right here is what works for me. Like, just let them know, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, keep it moving. That's it, right? Or, like, for certain situations, I this happens at least once a week, nearly once a week at least in my life. And I'm telling someone this because like people I love and care about, right? I have conversations with them, but I just said, look, I understand that you see it differently. Like, it's okay. Our minds don't work the same. Our brain is not the same. We're not the same person. I understand that you see it differently. And that's okay. Like, child, and we still have great relationships and all the things. Like, y'all think you got to be everything got to be so agreeable and all the things just to have harmony in your relationships. It's not true. Honesty 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 is one of the best things that you can have in your relationships, right? To help them grow and to nurture them and to help them to be better each and every day, every time, every interaction. Like, be honest. I'm telling you, leave room for people to do what they're gonna do, however they're gonna react, respond, or whatever. Right? We can't control any of that. Okay? Um now I want to make this clear. I've said it earlier in the episode, but I want to make sure it's actually clear here, right? And I want you to know that the only thing that you're responsible for here, right, in this context, the only thing that you're responsible for is clarity, right? You being clear, you're doing it calmly, and all the things. You're being very clear about what it is that you're doing, your boundaries, your decisions, your needs, your whatever, all of that. Just be clear. Understanding is on them. Like, that's their part. They gonna understand or they're not or whatever. You just need to be clear about what it is. Right? Let them do what they're going to do. Because, again, you cannot control people's actions, what they do and how they respond and all the things. Like, it don't work that way. I know you want to. I know. It would be so much easier if you could. But no. No. Okay? Don't work that way, right? Man, y'all, okay. That's it. That's what I have for you today. But before I get out of here, I do want to remind you, right? Because this is like super important. Again, I see it so much, and like people really be getting worked up in this space here, right? But it's like, discomfort does not mean that you did something wrong. Right? Just because if somebody's not agreeing with you or you feel uncomfortable, like you just feel like, oh man, that they didn't agree when I told them this is what I want to do, and am I making the right decision? And am I like, just be discomfortable? It's okay. You need to be comfortable with their what they got going on, but discomfort doesn't mean that you did something wrong. Okay. And you don't need everyone to understand your boundaries, your decisions, your desires, your needs, your all of that stuff. They don't need to understand it, right? You don't need everybody to understand it. You just need to do your part, be clear, and stand firm in them, right? Whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you're deciding, whether you just stand firm in that, because when you stand firm in that, you're teaching people how to treat you. And like I say many, many times, and I'm gonna keep saying, you absolutely must teach people how to treat you. That's how they get it. It's not because you're magically thinking like, oh, you should get this because I said this. No, right? You teach them. And the more you teach them and you're consistent with it, right? You're standing firm. You're not playing games. You're not accepting the junk that they're trying to give you, right? You show them and you teach them that you mean business, period. All right. That's it. That's what I have for you today, y'all. Again, I want y'all to hear that you don't have to do this by yourself, right? You don't have to just be somewhere, wherever you are, driving, working out, walking, just chilling, listening to this podcast episode or whatever you're doing. And then that's just it. And you just try to figure it all out by yourself. That's not necessary, right? This can be a starting point for you. Come and join us in the Boundaries and More community where we can assist you even more and support you, right? Through this journey, y'all. We all need support. All of us. And what better way to get support than doing it in a community with people who actually get you? You're trying to get understanding and have people to get it who don't get it. Right? So be surrounded and surround yourself with people who actually do and who want to help you better. Like, be better in your situation and be better in your life. Right? So come join us again in the Boundaries and More community. That link for you is in the show notes, or you can go to community.boundariesandmore.com and come join us there. Also, for those of you who have not yet follow us on Instagram at Boundaries and More Podcast. Again, that's on Instagram at Boundaries and More Podcast. And y'all, that's what I have for you today, right? Be intentional. Y'all know it. Be intentional. Don't play games. Be intentional. Go out and have an amazingly beautiful day. Amazingly beautiful day. Enjoy the rest of your week. And be back here next week for more Boundaries and More with Jas Abraham. Talk to y'all then.